Welcome to 5% Radio, where it's all about learning like no one else today so you can live like no one else tomorrow. Please be sure to share and subscribe. What is up, and welcome back to another episode of the 5% Radio podcast. Today is episode number 34, and I want to discuss Dutch boy bucket-carrying dolls and the significance of 1 degree. I'll give a couple different examples here, and I actually will have links in the show notes if you want to check out exactly what I'm talking about with some of this stuff, because obviously you're like, what the heck does he mean with the Dutch boy bucket-carrying dolls? That's super hard to say fast, and I'm not going to try to say it fast. I don't want to misspeak and say something that I'm not supposed to, but if you click on the show notes, whatever you're listening on, whether it's Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, whatever, if you click on the show notes, there is a hyperlink for that and also some of the other stuff that I'll talk about, just so you can actually get like a mental picture of exactly what I'm talking about. But first things first, I wanted to go ahead and give a shout out for a weekly win. I was texting a buddy of mine the other day, goes to the same gym I do, and he's been closely following the show, and recently started a business. His name is Matt, and he lives in Ohio, and he recently started the business, and he's working a full-time job. So just doing an absolutely phenomenal job, willing to work hard, and he just wants a better life. Always has. I've known the guy since he was, 12 or 13. He's just always been hungry for more. So this is what he said. I just kind of asked him, hey, have you made any changes since you've been listening to the show? And this is what he said. He said, episodes like 13 or 14 speak to me, not because I'm wasting my life or not striving for success, because it keeps on reminding me and encouraging the positive and sacrificing and working my butt off for something greater, whatever it may be, to better myself, but also the people around me. I've made it a routine where each time I get home from work from a long day, I listen to a podcast to keep myself motivated and working for the rest of the night. So I appreciate that, man. I'm super glad to hear that you have made changes from listening to the show. Keep doing what you're doing. And the fact that you went from just working a job to also being an entrepreneur, and man, hopefully that can actually end up replacing what you're currently doing, and you can just be free to make your own schedule work when you want to. And super proud of you, man. So anyway, diving into the show, that was the weekly win, the shout out. But diving into the show, I want to talk to you about a couple different things. But the first thing I want you to understand is that in your journey of success, regardless of what field you choose to play in, what arena your sport, and by that I mean like your business venture, or that might be your career, maybe you're an entrepreneur, maybe you're someone that is entrepreneurial minded, but you work for someone else and you are going to continue working for someone else because you enjoy that world more than you would enjoy the stress of owning a traditional business or the long-term vision that it would take for you to build a B-type business or a passive income that I talk about in episodes 4 and 5. But I want to talk to you about a few different things, because whatever you're doing, if you want to be successful, and I've mentioned this before on the show, but I've not mentioned the rest of what I'll talk about. But so there's something known as a parallel journey, and this is something that I actually heard first on Steve Larson's show, and Steve Larson is a marketing business guy, sales, whatever you want to call him, but his specialty is marketing. That is his lane. Phenomenal at what he does. He's made millions of dollars. I think last time I listened to his show, which has been a minute, he had just crossed the $11 million mark in about 6 years. So done some really great things for himself, and has a pretty high level of freedom, put some systems in place in his business, and he's moving towards from an S-type to like a B-type business, to where he can really kind of have his business run itself, and he makes money regardless of whether he gets out of bed or not that day. But anyway, so I heard this on Steve Larson's show. He talked about the parallel journey. By the way, if you are into marketing at all, or if you are running a business and you want to learn about marketing and sales, that would be a phenomenal channel to check out. He has a YouTube channel, Steve J. Larson, I believe it is on YouTube, and he has a phenomenal podcast. I've listened to probably a couple hundred episodes of his show, and that's actually really helped me a lot in my business ventures for the marketing agency, and then also just different things like writing and speaking. But anyway, phenomenal guy. Go check out his show if you are into marketing at all, or if you run a business, then you need to learn marketing, because marketing and sales are the two things that scale a business outside of the actual day-to-day activity that, generally speaking, anyone can do the technical work in your business, but working on your business, getting new leads and converting those leads into closed deals for customers that are paying you, which keeps your doors open and helps you have cash flow to scale further. Marketing and sales are super important, and his show is a great place to go to find out that information. So anyway, I digress, but in your journey of success, regardless of what you are doing, there is going to be a certain amount of basically there's going to be personal growth, but there's also going to be business growth. So the parallel journey, something that Steve talked about, is just that. So if you could picture kind of like a hockey stick chart, meaning it's a very long line starting at the left and then going over to the right, it really starts to slope up at a super aggressive angle. That would be hockey stick growth. Your parallel journey is going to look something like that. So internal victories precede external victories. Private victories precede public victories. So growth that happens inside will eventually come out, but you can't put something out that's not first in. So if I squeeze a ketchup bottle and there's nothing in there, I'm going to get air that comes out, but I'm not going to get ketchup. So it looks like, oh, it's a ketchup bottle. I can squeeze something out of this, but there's nothing in there. So as I'm growing my business, I can only grow my business as big as me as a person can handle. And I don't mean the hours that I can work or the amount of thoughts that I have or how well I make decisions. You know, if I can make 1 million decisions a day and take 50 phone calls, I'm not talking about my ability to sell. I'm not talking about my ability to handle a P&L statement, which is profit and loss statement, by the way, if you haven't heard that term before. But so I'm not talking about that. What I am talking about is my business can only grow as big as I am as a person. So if I have the thinking to handle $1 million business, I will have $1 million business eventually. If I never have the thinking to handle $1 million business, no matter how long I am in whatever venture I am in, it'll never happen. Like, that has to change first. It's kind of like when my wife and I got married. We got married and we had a horrible marriage for the first 6 months because my thinking and my wife's thinking, but I'm not speaking for her. So my thinking, awesome wife, and we have a wonderful marriage now. We don't ever really we barely ever even have like disagreements. We have not argued, I don't even know how long, but wonderful marriage. But the first 6 months were not so. And if you are married and it's not great, then please work to make it so, because quitting the alternative really shouldn't be an option, because you did make commitments to one another. And that is very, very, very important that you keep your word, just like anything else. Be willing to work on it. It is worth working it out. But when my wife and I first got married, I didn't have the thinking that would produce a good relationship. So even if I had a good relationship, my thinking would find a way to mess it up. And this is why you'll see people start a business, and the business is a phenomenal vehicle. Like, the business is a great vehicle, but they can't get it to grow. Because the parallel journey, these two arrows that are following each other, if I'm not growing internally, then my business won't grow. If I am working on my business and I hit a personal limitation, let's say that we're making 20 grand a month and I have a limiting belief that basically says that I cannot make more than 20 grand a month. Like, I have a problem with making over $240,000 a year for whatever reason. By the way, if you want to make $20,833.33, that would equal $250 a year. So that being said, I have something wrong in my brain that cannot allow my business arrow to go up further, because my internal victories, my personal growth, the private life that I'm living, is not growing past that point. So you have to understand that there's a parallel journey. I have my business, my entrepreneurial venture, my career, whatever that is, the vehicle that I make my money with, and then I have me growing as a person. Here's what happens when you grow as a person. I have a couple guys that I'm working on a project with, and one of the guys started plugging into some better information just to learn better thinking. That was all. He started listening to audios every day while he was at work. He's a welder, super great guy, and he was working on a job that he was already, doing decently well, and he was making decent money for a welder. He started listening to audios. He got 14%, I almost said 14-degree raises, the title, duh. He got 14% raises 6 months apart. So he ended up in 1 year getting a 28% increase on his pay. So I have no clue what he was making, but given the fact that he was making, let's say, 40 grand a year, and he got a 28% increase, like that's the difference between him making $40,000 a year and him making $51,200. Like that would be the exact number, but it was a 28% raise. Did his skill set change? His ability to weld, to do TIG welds and all this different stuff, and how smooth his welds were and how strong? No, none of that changed. Did anything skill set wise change with him doing the technical part of his job? No, but his mindset changed. His ability to deal with people, his ability to handle problems, his ability to have higher emotional intelligence, his leadership, just his mindset in general, his mood, his attitude, his outlook, his perspective on things. If he was more negative than positive, all of that changed because the parallel journey, he grew as a person, and guess what? His income grew along with that, because I cannot grow in one area and not grow in another and think that it's not going to be affected. So there is a parallel journey. There's an aspect of your business that is going to grow. There's an aspect of your marriage. There's an aspect of your sport, your discipline, your hobby, whatever you're in that you're looking to get to the top 5%. There's an aspect of that that is hugely controlled by the amount of personal growth that happens in you. A great analogy of this, last analogy, and then I'm moving on to something else. But so think about this. If you are someone who plays, let's say that I'm a basketball player, and I can really, really, really I can just make buckets all day long, which if you know me, that is not the case. I can make free throws pretty consistently. If you ask me to move and shoot, it is over, ladies and gentlemen. It's just not going to happen. So unless I'm playing something stupid like horse or pig, for whatever reason, great at those games, real basketball that actually matters, terrible. Anyway, so if I'm playing basketball and I am the best shooter on the team and I have no conditioning, so the basketball, my ability to actually shoot is my business in this analogy. I'm great at that. I am phenomenal. I'm the best of the best. I'm the best shooter. I've got, if I take 10 shots, I make 8.5 of those. Like, I'm just draining buckets all the time, left and right, no problem. But my conditioning sucks. That's the example of like the public thing. Here's the result people see. My conditioning sucks, so I don't even actually get to show how good I am at shooting the basketball. I can't show you how good I am at doing the thing that I do in business because I have limiting beliefs or I have an issue in my personal growth. I have an issue with my integrity. I have an issue with my character. I have a private life issue that is coming out and affecting my public life. Okay, so I might be great at basketball doing the thing that I'm actually supposed to do, but something underlying that no one can see that's below the surface, the tip of the iceberg is me being able to shoot the basketball. Below the surface is the fact that I am unconditioned or I have a poor diet or something else. It's something that no one can see, but it's holding back the tip of the iceberg. It's holding back the skill set that I actually have. I heard one guy put it this way. He was telling someone in the entrepreneurial world, he said, you have a level 10 skill set and a level 2 opportunity, meaning like what you do is 10 out of 10, like you are the best at what you do, but your vehicle to apply that skill set to is only a 2. Like, so out of 100%, you're 100%. Your vehicle is only 20% worth what it could be. So my ability to do the thing might be at 100%. I might be one of the best there is. My ability to apply what I know and actually carry it out and have success might only be 20% due to personal growth issues. So one of the ways that you can look at this is there's a few different analogies, but so there's an example that I heard just the other day. I was listening to a talk given by a business guy. This was like years and years and years and years and years ago. But he talked about whenever you get started in a business venture, whatever it is, picture, and there's actually, this is something you can look at in the show notes. This is the whole Dutch boy carrying buckets thing, but picture someone carrying a staff on their back and there's a bucket on each side and they're walking. When you start your business venture, the bucket of like positivity, leadership thinking, proper finances, marketing and sales, your ability to develop people, your ability to be disciplined, your ability to actually apply yourself, your ability to motivate yourself, your ability to keep yourself going, do things you don't feel like, manage your emotions, have high emotional intelligence. All of those things are in one of the buckets. And in the other bucket is all of the crap in your brain that will hold you back. All of the negative thinking, the limiting beliefs, the I can't do this, the if that was going to work for anyone, it would work for you, but there's no way it could work for you. There's no way you can make it. No one in our family has ever done a business. No one's ever gone to college. And I am not a fan of college by any means whatsoever. But the limiting beliefs, that the fact that people have told you no over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, those are in the other bucket. So I've got two sides, left and right. Right side, positive, all the skill sets I need. Everything I need to succeed is in that bucket. The other side, left side, is all the negative poo-poo that I've been taught my whole life that is holding me back and keeping me broke, keeping me unhappy, keeping me to the place where I can't succeed because I have some belief at some level that says I can't, or that, it wouldn't work for me, or whatever else, or I'm not capable, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy, or successful people are bad, or making money is evil, and I should have just enough to pay my bills, and I shouldn't have, if I have too much, then that means someone else doesn't have enough, and I'm a socialist, so we can't make a new pie. We have to all find, if he gets a big piece of pie, then that takes away from some of my pie, versus just saying, hey, why don't we just go make a new pie? You know what? You can have as much as you want. I can have as much as I want. So there's these two buckets, right? When you start your journey, I have no clue how much is in your left poo-poo, all the crap that you have in your brain that's holding you back, all the negative stuff you've been told, the false belief, the things that you're absolutely positively sure of that just aren't so. So it's not so much what holds you back. It's not so much what you currently think or what you know that holds you back. It's what you don't know. There's this cute little saying people say, oh, what you don't know won't hurt you. What you don't know is actually killing you. To quote an author that I read, what you don't know is killing you. If some guy is making $600,000 a year and you're making $600 a week, what you don't know is keeping you from what that guy has right now because he knows something that you don't know. Now, money is just an easy measurement of success. That guy's life could be falling apart. You never know, but he knows stuff that you don't know. And as one of my mentors so eloquently said at one point, if you knew what I knew, you do what I do. So what you don't know is killing you. So what's in those buckets is before you came to the journey that you're on now, there was stuff in both those buckets. I don't know how unbalanced those buckets are. I don't know exactly what you have in the left bucket that's holding you back versus what you have in the right bucket that is going to take you to where you want to go. I don't know how unbalanced they are. I don't know if you only need to go a few months of personal growth. I don't know if you only need to listen to a couple hundred hours of success type audios teaching you things like time management, mindset, business skills, the importance of reading, the right thinking for business. I don't know. I don't know how many episodes of this show you're going to have to listen to help you get that bucket balance. I don't know how many books you're going to have to read. By the way, if you want to be successful, I hope that you're reading because either you won't become successful or you won't be able to keep your success or scale your success. It's going to be one of those three things. If you want to grow in life, and I'm not saying you have to read 1,000,000 books a year, but if you want to grow in life, you need other people's thinking that have achieved more than you have achieved. Again, as my mentor said, if you knew what I knew, you'd do what I do. How did they learn those things? They read. They got around people that were doing those things. Read, listen, associate, just like I talked about in a previous episode. Fill your mind with the skill sets, the thinking, the emotional intelligence, the possibility mindset, the goal-oriented, fill your mind with that stuff and the skills you need to learn on the side and work on balancing out those buckets. Now, back to the parallel journey. I don't know how long it will take you to get those buckets balanced out or to get the right bucket leaning down because it's heavier, it's more full. That might be weeks, it might be months, it might be years for you, it might be longer. But only you control the pace of how fast those buckets get filled. And here's the deal. Every single time I watch TV, I'm putting stuff in the wrong bucket. There's no unless you're watching The Prophet or something I think that's the name of the show where that guy would go in and flip businesses. His name is Marcus. Anyway, but unless you're watching shows that are teaching you business stuff, maybe you're watching Shark Tank recreationally. That's the only recreational television you watch. That's fine. But if you're watching reality TV, you're putting crap in the left bucket. If you're listening to negative, if you're rolling down the road just listening to death metal all the time, guess what? That's not going to bring your mood up and help you oh yeah, I'm going to go close the sale after I listen to Five Finger Death Punch all day. You're going to walk in there and probably have a look on your face you know what? I'd like to kill you right now, but hey, it's nice to meet you. That's not how you're going to achieve success. You're going to have to give some stuff up that you enjoy doing. I hopped in the car today, and I am constantly trying to fill that right bucket with the right thinking. I hopped in the car today, and I'm you know what? It would be great to, I'm huge on music, sing. I play a bunch of different instruments. I've always loved music. I'm man, it'd be great to jam out just for one or two songs. And I'm you know what? I have not filled that bucket enough today. When I say enough, I haven't filled it with absolutely every spare second that I can of downtime. If I'm driving, if I'm walking through the house, if I'm cooking, if I'm, putting stuff in the dishwasher, if I'm taking care of something outside, if I'm anything. If I go to the grocery store and no one's with me, I'll bring an earbud. I'm trying to get stuff in my brain constantly to help me improve because I want that parallel journey to speed up. I want my thinking to speed up to the point where I can make 50 grand a month, like one of my mentors, and work 8 hours a week because the guy's been reading 100 pages a day for 16 years. He's been pounding informational audios that have been teaching him how to think like a multimillionaire, someone who's financially free, that lives in that B quadrant that I mentioned in episodes 4 and 5. He's been working on that for 16 years. We just had a conversation the other day on the phone. He'll be hitting 6 figures a month in the next 6 months to 9 months if he keeps doing what he's doing because he's worked on this process for a long time. And there's a danger of 1 degree in your life. And here's what I mean. If you take an ice cube, you look at this and you say, well, it doesn't really matter that much. I'm going to go to a horror film and I'm going to listen to this and I'm going to watch this later and I'm going to read this fiction book and I'm going to do all the stuff that has nothing. Oh, and I'm going to take up drinking as a hobby and I'm going to do all the stuff that has no possibility ever of moving me forward in my venture. ever moving me forward. And I'm also going to hang out with those people that think that college is the way to be successful and you need to work a good job with safe, secure benefits. And these guys that talk trash about their wives, and these women that are constantly talking about, how they can just stick it to their husband because he's such a jerk. And I'm going to hang out with those people and ingest that information and read those kind of things. And that's going to help me. That will not help you. The difference of 1 degree is huge in your life. And here's what I mean. Think about ice. If I set ice on a table and that room is 19 degrees, I'm in this freezing room. It's basically a giant ice box, which, by the way, I used to work at a grocery store. One of the things I had to do was stock the milk in the back of the grocery store. Like, if you've ever been in the gas station or a grocery store and you're buying something and you look through the milk or you look through the energy drinks or water and you see a person back there, I used to do that. It's freezing cold and you're back there loading stuff up, just trying to get out of there, sweating, and it's like 20 degrees in the back of that thing, So anyway, not actually 20 degrees because then your milk would be frozen. So it's 33 degrees, whatever. But if I'm back there, I set some ice down, it's 20 degrees, and I crank that thermostat up to 22 degrees. I'm like, man, I put 2 degrees in today. I am killing it. And I'm like, nothing happened to the ice. Like, I'm looking to melt the ice, I'm looking to melt this ice, and I don't know, man, what's it going to take to melt the ice? Well, it takes 33 degrees. 32 degrees, ice is cool. 33 degrees, ice starts to melt. It might take a while, but it's going to start to melt because it's above the freezing point. I have tipped the bucket, so to speak. So in my life, the difference of 1 degree is huge. And a lot of people live an almost life. They almost in everything they do. They almost give it enough effort. If you want to hear more about the almost lifestyle, go listen to a talk on YouTube given by Art Williams called Just Do It. I've referenced it several times. If you've not listened to it yet and you listen to all the episodes, that's kind of a hint. Go listen to Just Do It by Art Williams. It's on YouTube. Phenomenal talk. It was given back, and I don't even know when, but everything he talks about is still true today. But the difference of 1 degree, the difference of I almost made it and I actually made it happen, is when I crank that thermostat from 20 to 22, there's a private victory there in my life. Like, something happened, but there was no outward effect. There was nothing that people saw. And then I crank it the next week. I crank it up to 23. Next week, I crank it to 24, and it might take me another 6 months to get from 24 to 27, but I'm still cranking it. I'm still moving that thermostat. I'm still trying to get that thermometer in that room to read just a little bit higher, just a little bit more every single day. That's why when I'm done recording this, guess what I'm going to go do? I'm going to go read. Is it going to be late? Absolutely. I record a lot of these episodes late at night because I'm a night owl. I'm going to go read when I get done. I have like 4 or 5 different books going right now. I'm constantly reading. It's not just to say that I'm reading. I heard one of my mentors say this the other day. He said, we're not reading and listening to audio information to read and listen to audio information to say that, yes, I read, yes, I listened to it. I'm listening to that to grow. I'm looking for what do I need to improve on, and I'm targeting that area. Are there some days that I read just to put a check in the box? Like, okay, I kept the habit today. I kept the habit. I got 1% better. Yes, there are some days that I do that. But most days I'm looking for, like, I'm reading a Christian book on humility right now. I'm reading a book written by a Christian counselor on bringing up boys, James Dobson, because I'm parenting a little guy. He's almost 17 months old. I'm looking to be the best dad that I can be. I'm reading a book on coaching, Winning Every Day by Lou Holtz, because I'm looking to get better at coaching people in the organization that I'm working with. I'm also reading a book called Bringing Out the Best in People, because I am looking to see how can I bring out the best in people that I'm working with? How can I make sure that they know that they're appreciated? How can I help everyone's need? That's, if they're holding up a sign like a homeless dude on the street, everyone's sign would say, make me feel important, make me feel special, treat me good, just tell me that I'm somebody. Like, everyone's sign, they just want to be recognized. Recognition, grown man die for it and babies cry for it. Like, I'm looking to grow in those areas. I have another book that I'm wrapping up right now that's called Talent is Overrated. I've been in that one a while because it kind of got dry and I put it down, but I will finish that book. I'm looking to grow. I'm looking to learn more every single day just to give me a little bit of an edge. There's a saying, I want to say it came from, I'm not going to say the name of the author of the book because I could be wrong, but he talks about your organization's only sustainable competitive advantage is to learn faster than your competition. That's your only competitive, sustainable advantage. If I was playing sports, if I practice more than that guy and I watch more footage and I work on my recovery better and I stretch and I work on my technique and I work on all my skills and I work on my conditioning and I work on my diet and I work on my supplementation, I can do all those things just to get just a little bit better than the competition, and that little bit better matters. It's tipping those buckets, if you will, to go back to my earlier analogy. It's taking the room from 27 degrees to 28 degrees to 29 degrees to 30. Nothing's happening. No one can see it, but man, I'm working on it every single day. I'm putting stuff in the right buckets. I'm getting rid of the bad information. I'm not hanging out with people that want to do nothing with their lives. I'm not hanging out with a guy that's like, hey, we should stay up till 3 a.m. every weekend, go bowling, eat junk food, get plastered. And then I'm like, man, I'm trying to succeed in a business. I've got dreams. I want to be financially free. Like, you might have to let that guy go. You might have to not hang out with him. You might have to grab lunch with him on a Tuesday instead of hang out with him on the weekend, because the weekend he pulls you down. Tuesday, he's constrained. He can't get plastered, just a regular dude, and you can still have, man, it was good catching up with you. You might have to limit some things if you really want your dream. But again, 27 degrees, 28 degrees, 29 degrees, 30 degrees, 31, 32. No one sees the work you've done. No one sees the reading. No one sees the endless hours that you've listened to audio information. No one sees the audiobooks. No one sees the conferences you're attending to learn how to be better at whatever you're doing. No one sees the fact that you're paying for all these different certifications. No one sees the fact that you're studying up late at night. No one sees the fact that you're buying expensive courses. No one sees the fact that you're paying for coaching. No one sees the fact that you spent a couple hours that weekend on the phone with your mentor. No one sees the fact that you drove a ridiculous distance just to meet with someone who's successful in what you do, to get just a little more of their thinking, to tip that bucket, and boom, 33 degrees. Then everyone's like, oh, you're doing such a great job. Like Matt, I gave him a shout out in this episode. He started his own business. No one is going to see the crap that he has to go through to get that thing to grow from where it's at now to double, to triple, to quadruple. No one's going to see that, but they'll be like, man, that 33 degrees looks good. Great job, brother. Like, man, I've been working my butt off. No one's seen it, but boom, it happens. And it happens again, and it happens again, and it happens again. Like, you've got to be willing to go through the 29 degrees, 30 degrees, 31 degrees. What the heck am I doing? 32 degrees. No one sees this. No one appreciates me. I'm working my butt off. It's not coming together. I feel like a loser. I'm trying, man. I'm working all these out. No one sees it. And then 33 degrees, they're like, wow, we always knew it would work for you. Man, you're just so lucky. You're just that kind of person, man. I could never make something like that work. I just don't have the time. I just don't have the guts. I just don't have the money to invest. I just don't. As if you have all this extra time. But they see that 33 degrees. Another example is water. Water does not boil at 211. It simmers. It looks like it's on its way. But at 211, guess what? It boils. Anything under 211, it's not boiling. It's simmering. Man, you're getting close. You never read a package on the back and you're making like spaghetti, or some of you might mispronounce it out there and call it paschetti. We can talk about it later, but it's not right. Fix it. Okay, it's spaghetti. I'm making a box from New Jersey, evidently, but I'm making a box of macaroni. It doesn't say get the water hot. It's specific. It says boil the water. Like, I get the water boiling and then I put the stuff in. That makes the noodle. It doesn't say simmer the water, heat it up, make it hot, dip your finger in. If it burns you, it's cool. Like, boil the water. When the water starts boiling, you will know. You don't have to stick a thing in there like, oh no, it's not 212 yet. Like, when it boils, boom, you know it's visible to everyone. And so many people live their lives at 211 degrees. Like, they're getting close. Oh, we're going to do it eventually. Man, when I start my business, man, when I get that promotion, man, when I make that lateral move in the company, and then I can really start moving up because that's a position that I need. Man, when I go back to school, because right now I'm a nurse, but I'd like to be a doctor, and right now, man, when I go for that extra, certification, right now I'm a general practitioner, but I want to be this specialty. Man, when I get into real estate, when I buy that first house, when I finish this renovation, man, when I flip my first house, as soon as we get that loan, like, all of these things at 211, over and over, and they're not doing what it takes to get to 212. 212 is going to take some time. It might not be as long for you as it is for someone else, but it's going to take some time. It's going to take some investment. It's going to take a little bit to get those buckets to move, and you might not be able to see it right away, and that's when people get discouraged. Lastly, here's this, and I'm done. But we've probably all heard about the, penny a day and double it sort of thing. Well, what does that actually look like? Well, again, I put a link to this if you just want to go ahead and click on the link in the show notes of the penny a day doubled chart for 30 days. I put a link to this, and you can just pick any one of these charts. But so day one, you start out with 1 cent. Okay? Woo. You're pursuing something out of the norm. You're not just working a job. You're going to be an entrepreneur. You're going to be in business for yourself. Just picture yourself pulling up your pants a little bit, puffing out your chest, and people are like, "Oh yeah, woo, good for you." Day 3, 4 cents, woohoo! Parallel journey. Filling up those buckets, trying to get them balanced, trying to get rid of all the crap, trying to put the right stuff in. I'm turning that thermostat up from 20 to 22. I'm taking the water from, now it's sitting on the stove, the flame's there, but now I'm turning the flame up. Like I'm doing just a little bit more. Day 10, $5.12. How's that going for you, man? Oh yeah, you still trying that thing? Man, why don't you come back and get a job? Why don't you come back? Why don't you just start my business, man? We make money super fast with what I do. Day 16, $327.68. You're over halfway. Not a whole lot of progress. Not a whole lot of public victories. Not a whole lot of external results to show. How's it going, man? People giving you crap, talking about how much money they make at their job. Again, the analogy of the bike and a plane. Like, dude on the runway sitting there warming up the plane is not worried that the bike is getting ahead of him. Day 21, $10,485.76. Man, I've started to make a little bit, but man, you've been doing that thing how long, and that's all you made? You've been in your business that long, you haven't turned a profit. You've been working at that company that long. You've been in partnership with that guy, and you guys, you're still not even making 6 figures. You've been in business, you've been in real estate how long, and you're still, you're going to hear all this garbage because people don't understand the process. Day 25, $167,000, $772.16. 167, 772.16. Almost $168,000. But I am almost done. I'm day 25. I got 5 days left. Day 30. Started out with a penny. Day 30. Buckets have been adding up. Been cranking that thermostat. Been turning that heat up on that stove. Been working on putting the right stuff in, keeping the wrong stuff out. I've been trying to get that balanced. I've been trying to get the parallel journey. I want people to see the work that I've been putting in when the lights are off. I want that to come out under the big lights. I want people to know, man, I'm a winner. I've got what it takes. I'm going to make this happen. Day 30, $5,368,709.12. Now, what if you go to day 31? What if you go to day 32? What if you go to day 37? Still compounding, just like that snowball rolling downhill, man. It started little, man. This isn't going to work. There's no way it's going to be big enough by the time it gets to the hill. I don't have that much time. How is this ever going to make it, man? That thing starts rolling and rolling and rolling. Anyone who's built a snowman, you've rolled this snowball around the yard. By the time you get done with that thing and you're like ready to put it on the snowman, you're like, holy cow, I don't know if I can carry this thing across the lawn. Man, like it's huge. It's ginormous. You're like, how did that happen from this little ball that I packed with my hands and could have thrown 300 feet? Like, how'd this happen? Because I rolled it just a little bit further, picked up a little more snow, rolled it a little bit further, picked up a little more snow, a little further, a little more snow. You've got to do that. Work on balancing and then unbalancing the buckets to that positive side to get those skill sets, to get the thinking you need. Get the room to 33 degrees, start melting that ice. Get the water from 211 to 212, start it boiling. Work on that a penny a day and doubled. Private virtue, private life is going to come out eventually in your public life if you work at it long enough. Please do not quit what you're doing. We need more entrepreneurs. We need more people living intentionally for excellence in every single area of their life. We need more people to keep their word, to keep their marriage, to keep their goals, to actually go out there and pursue something and put the remote down, put social media down, shut off the TV, do something great with your life. Do not settle for average. Stop living the dangerous existence of a 211-degree life and get out there, make some water boil, make things happen.